The situation in Afghanistan appears to be growing more dire by the hour. The Taliban have gained control of the capital city of Kabul, with all major cities in the country now under their control.
And the speed and ease at which the Taliban took over the country has left the world stunned. According to a spokesperson for the U.S. State Department, all staff from the American embassy safely evacuated and are at Kabul's international airport, which is for now under control of the U.S. military. This is a look at that airport as families desperate to escape crowded the tarmac and scrambled to get onto crowded planes. While evacuations are taking place with military planes, commercial flights are suspended, closing off one of the last routes available for Afghans who want out of the country.
Earlier today, Taliban fighters entered the presidential palace in Kabul. An official with the Taliban said that they will soon rename that country the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, which was the former name of Afghanistan before the U.S. military forced the Taliban from control. The president of Afghanistan left that country just hours before the takeover of his presidential palace. And now, for those still living there under Taliban rule, the fear for the future, concerns over the threat of public executions, forced marriages of Afghan girls, and women losing all rights, including the closing of schools. And we're hearing from a local man who escaped Afghanistan in the 1980s, but who still has family in the country.
Fox 5's Claire Benitez talked with that man, got his response to the Taliban takeover and his hopes for the future.
I spoke to a man from Afghanistan who was resettled to the United States after the Afghan-Soviet War in the 1980s. He did not want to be identified because he still has family overseas, but says he is hopeful for the people in his country.
I personally am in favor of the United States leaving Afghanistan after 20 years. I do believe that if we had been there for another 20 years, we would still be in the same kind of situation.
A man from Afghanistan who did not want to be identified due to safety concerns says he agrees with the United States' decision to withdraw its troops.
The quick changes that had taken place have surprised everyone, including myself.
After President Biden's decision to withdraw U.S. troops from Afghanistan on May 1st, the Taliban quickly moved in.
The focus right now has to be on this evacuation, and Congress stands ready to do what we need to do to speed up any kind of processing.
The native Afghani says the U.S. served its purpose overseas.
I think it's important that we leave. The U.S. have served its initial purpose, that is to get rid of al-Qaeda. Nation building is another story. This is beyond our control, and we have many other problems at home that we should focus on.
He says the Afghan people have become numb to different groups taking over the government.
The majority of the Afghan people who live there, they are absolutely tired, and what they want most is security.
He says during the last 20 years, the United States struggled in Afghanistan.
To this day, they have not been able to translate that into the incredible sacrifices that the United States military, that their taxpayers have paid.
He hopes the United States can continue to have a relationship with the Taliban to help the country in the progression it has made and not scale back.
The Taliban would recognize and respect the rights, basic human rights, first of all, international norms, the rights of women, right to education. All these things are elementary to any society, functioning society, a civil society.
The U.S. Defense Secretary has approved 6,000 troops to head overseas to help with the situation. Reporting from Miramar, Clara Benitez, Fox 5 News.